Have you ever felt like no matter what you say or how hard you try, you just can't seem to spark that genuine, magnetic pull? You have the conversations, you're respectful, you put in the effort, but you end up feeling more like a friend, an advisor, or simply invisible in the way you truly want to be seen. It's a frustrating puzzle, and the reason it feels unsolvable is because you might be playing the wrong game entirely. You see, the landscape of human connection, of genuine attraction, operates on a frequency that goes far deeper than words. It speaks a language written in biology, in instinct, in signals that bypass the conscious mind and speak directly to the nervous system. This isn't about manipulation or performance. It's about understanding a fundamental truth. What we often call chemistry or spark isn't a thoughtful decision. It's an automatic, biological reflex. It's a response to signals that have meant survival, safety, and evolutionary advantage for thousands of generations. Think about it. In our modern world, we're taught to connect through conversation, through shared interests, through demonstrating our good intentions. And while these are important for building relationships, they often completely miss the mark when it comes to igniting that initial, primal flame of desire. The conscious mind is listening to your words, but the instinctual brain, the older, faster, more powerful part, is reading an entirely different set of data. It's reading your body, your behavior, how you hold yourself in space, how you respond to tension, how you carry your own emotional world. When there's a mismatch, when your words say one thing, but your biology broadcasts another, the instinctual brain always wins. That's why you can say all the right things and still end up categorized in a way you don't intend. The mistake isn't a lack of effort. It's a matter of direction. You're trying to negotiate or explain desire into existence, when in reality, it must be activated through specific biological triggers. This understanding changes everything. It moves you from a place of trying to convince to a place of knowing how to activate. It means you stop depending on the perfect line or script and start cultivating a presence that communicates value on an instinctual level. Today, we're going to explore this in profound depth. We're going to dismantle the common, social level approach and rebuild an understanding based on the three core biological triggers that silently dictate the presence or absence of raw, magnetic attraction. This isn't a collection of cheap tricks. It's a framework for being perceived differently by operating in alignment with how human attraction is hardwired. Before we dive into the first trigger, I want you to do something for me. If this idea of moving beyond words and into the realm of instinctual communication resonates with you, if you're tired of the confusion and ready for a clearer understanding, show this channel some support. Hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. We go deep here, beyond the surface level advice, and your subscription helps this message reach more men who are ready for this shift. Also, drop a comment below with the word activate. Let me know you're here to understand this on a deeper level. Let's begin with the very first impression, the one that happens in milliseconds, long before you utter a single word. We'll call this first principle the silent language of situational authority. Imagine walking into any space, a social gathering, a coffee shop, a meeting. Before any introductions are made, before any conversations start, a silent assessment is already complete. This assessment isn't about your clothes or your job title in that moment. It's about how you inhabit your own body and how you relate to the environment around you. This is where the instinctual brain makes its most crucial and often irreversible first read. It's asking a primal question. Does this person represent direction, security, and capability? This is not about being the loudest person in the room. It's not about a domineering posture or an aggressive stance. In fact, those often signal the opposite: insecurity and overcompensation. True situational authority is quiet. It's calm. It's a relaxed command that comes from an internal state of non-reactivity. It's the body that leads before speech. Think of it like this. When an unexpected noise happens, does your head jerk around urgently, eyes wide, body tense, seeking the source of the disturbance with anxiety? Or do you turn calmly, with a measured pace, assessing the situation without being pulled into it? That split-second difference broadcasts two entirely different stories. The first broadcasts a system that is reactive, easily hijacked by external stimuli. The second broadcasts a system that is stable, that observes and chooses its response. To the instinctual mind, that stability is read as leadership. It's associated with the capacity to handle uncertainty, to provide protection, to navigate a dynamic world without losing composure. This is deeply biological. Research in fields like social psychology and behavioral neuroscience has shown that expansive, open, and relaxed postures not only influence how others see us, but actually alter our own internal biochemistry, increasing feelings of confidence and reducing stress. This creates a feedback loop. Your calm physiology broadcasts calm, which is perceived as authority. It's about occupying space without apology, but also without aggression. Movements that are deliberate, not frantic. Gestures that originate from a place of expression, not from a need to seek approval or fill silence. The common mistake is to confuse this with simply standing up straight. It's far more nuanced. It's the pace of your walk. It's the depth of your breath. It's the stillness in your hands when listening. It's your ability to be completely present in a moment without looking over someone's shoulder for something better. When you are not desperately scanning for social cues to tell you how to act, you inherently become the source of them. This silent language of the body communicates that you are not a passive passenger in your environment. You are someone who navigates it with intentionality. And that intentionality, that quiet assurance of movement, is one of the most potent, nonverbal triggers for attraction. It doesn't ask for permission. It is simply felt. Now, cultivating this isn't about faking it until you make it with a stiff posture. It starts internally, with managing your own state. It's about practicing mindfulness, so you're not lost in anxious thought. It's about breathing deeply to regulate your nervous system. When your internal state is calm and centered, your body naturally expresses situational authority without any forced alpha performance. What are your thoughts on this so far? Can you recall a time you noticed someone with this kind of quiet, commanding presence? How did it make you feel? Let's get a discussion going in the comments. Share your perspective. And if you're finding value in breaking this down, please give this video a like. It genuinely helps the channel grow. Now, let's move to the second critical piece of the puzzle. You've established a presence of calm authority. But if that's all there is, the interaction can become flat, pleasant, but predictable, safe, but not stimulating. This brings us to our second principle, the catalyst of neurochemical interest, dopamine and the space for anticipation. Here's a critical paradox. While safety and comfort are essential for trust and long-term bonding, an excess of immediate comfort is actually the death knell for initial desire. Desire doesn't thrive in resolution. It thrives in the space between the known and the unknown. It's fueled by curiosity, by the sense that there is more to discover, by a subtle, positive tension. The brain's primary chemical driver for this state is dopamine, often called the molecule of motivation, anticipation, and reward. It's not released when you get something. It's released in the pursuit of it, in the anticipation of something novel or rewarding. The modern, social-level approach to connection often sabotages this dopamine circuit entirely. In a well-meaning effort to be clear, transparent, and available, a man might offer all his interest, all his attention, all his emotional validation too quickly and too completely. He answers every question immediately. He's always available to text. He makes his intentions perfectly clear from the outset. While this feels socially polite, what it creates biologically is a closed loop. There's no mystery, no room for the other person's mind to wander, to wonder, to project, to actively engage in figuring you out. The story is told in the first chapter. The dopamine system shuts down because there's nothing left to anticipate. This doesn't mean playing games or being deliberately obscure. It means understanding the rhythm of engagement. It's the difference between an interrogation and a captivating conversation. In a captivating conversation, there are pauses. There are moments where you reflect before answering. There might be a playful deflection of a question that turns it back to her in an interesting way. There is a natural flow of attention. You are fully present. Then you might momentarily observe something else in the room, then return your focus, all without anxiety. This slight variation in focus creates a subtle, unconscious pull. Think about ending an interaction. The instinct when you're having a great conversation is to prolong it until it naturally fizzles. But a more powerful approach, one that keeps the dopamine alive, is to end the interaction while the energy is still high. I've really enjoyed this conversation, but I have to head out. I'd like to continue it another time. You leave on a peak, not a valley. You create an open loop, not a closed one. Her mind continues to process the interaction because it wasn't formally concluded to the point of exhaustion. This principle is about creating cognitive and emotional space. It's about being genuinely engaged but not overwhelming. It's about sharing yourself in layers, not in a single data dump. It's allowing her the pleasure of discovery. When you do this, you're not creating insecurity, you're creating engagement. The nervous system interprets this positive uncertainty as stimulation, as something alive and interesting. It wakes up, and a mind that is actively engaged, curious, and anticipating is a mind in a state where attraction can naturally grow. It's the soil in which the seed of desire is planted. Are you starting to see how these pieces fit together? The first trigger establishes the foundation of security and capability. The second trigger introduces the stimulating element of positive tension and curiosity. One without the other is incomplete. We need to keep going, because there's a third component that ties everything together and represents the ultimate signal of strength. But before we get to that, I need to ask you a favor. This deep dive content takes a significant amount of time and research to produce. If you're learning something new and valuable here, the single best way to support this work is to subscribe to the channel. Every new subscriber allows me to create more of this in-depth analysis for you. So if you haven't yet, please hit that subscribe button now. All right, let's delve into the third and perhaps most powerful biological trigger. This is what separates those who are momentarily interesting from those who are perceived as fundamentally solid and magnetic. We'll call this the anchor of visible emotional equilibrium. Life is not a controlled script. Interactions will have moments of tension, awkwardness, surprise, or even mild conflict. It's in these unscripted moments that character is truly revealed. While the first trigger deals with your physical composure, this third trigger deals with your emotional and psychological composure under subtle pressure. It's the ultimate test, and the instinctual brain is watching closely. What happens when a joke doesn't land? When there's a provocative or challenging comment? When an awkward silence stretches a few seconds too long? The default, social level reaction is to immediately fix it, to backtrack, to explain the joke, to defend against the challenge, to frantically fill the silence with chatter. This reaction, though understandable, broadcasts a critical message. My emotional state is dependent on your immediate reaction and the smoothness of this interaction. I am uncomfortable with tension, and I will rush to dispel it to make myself feel better. Now, contrast that with a different response. The joke doesn't land. You simply smile calmly, maybe with a slight, knowing shrug, and let the moment pass without self-deprecation or frantic recovery. A challenging comment arises. You listen fully, pause, and respond with a measured tone, perhaps reframing it with curiosity rather than defensiveness. An awkward silence emerges. You don't break it with nervous energy. You might simply look around, take a sip of your drink, or hold a relaxed, patient gaze. You allow the silence to exist. You are comfortable within it. This is visible emotional equilibrium. It's not the absence of emotion. It's the conscious management of it. It's the demonstration that your internal state is not easily rocked by external social dynamics. To the instinctual brain, this is one of the highest value signals possible. Why? Because it communicates genetic and psychological resilience. It says, this person possesses inner strength. They can handle stress without fracturing. They can navigate ambiguity without losing their center. They are a source of stability, not a source of drama. In an evolutionary sense, this signals a partner who can handle crises, provide calm in chaos, and protect the tribe under pressure. This trigger activates both sides of the instinctual equation simultaneously: profound safety and intense desire. Safety, because you represent a rock, not a reed blowing in the wind. Desire, because this kind of unshakable self-containment is rare and intensely magnetic. It creates a mystery. How are you so unfazed? Which feeds back into the dopamine trigger we discussed earlier. Developing this isn't about suppressing emotions. It's about creating space between a stimulus and your response. It's a practice of internal awareness. When you feel that surge of anxiety to fill a silence, you notice it, you feel it in your body, but you choose not to let it dictate your action. You breathe into the discomfort. This is a muscle built through mindfulness, through putting yourself in social situations and practicing observation over reaction. It's the cornerstone of true, unshakable confidence. When you combine these three principles, situational authority, neurochemical interest, and visible emotional equilibrium, you are no longer communicating on just a social level. You are broadcasting a consistent, powerful signal on a biological frequency. You are perceived as a man who is calm, capable, intriguing, and solid. This combination doesn't beg for attention, it commands it effortlessly. It doesn't seek to take value. It inherently embodies and offers it. This is the shift from trying to convince someone to desire you, to being someone who is instinctively perceived as desirable. The game is no longer about what you say. It's about who you are being in each moment. The beautiful part is that this isn't a persona you put on. It's a skill set you develop that makes you a more centered, more intentional, and more attractive man in all areas of your life. We've covered a tremendous amount of ground here today, from the biology of first impressions to the chemistry of curiosity to the psychology of resilience. This is just the framework. The real transformation happens in the application, in the daily practice of refining your presence, your communication, and your inner state. If this deep dive has opened your eyes to a new way of thinking about attraction and connection, I'd love to hear from you. Let's build a community of men dedicated to growth and mastery. Leave a comment below. Tell me which of the three triggers you find most challenging or most insightful. Let's get a real discussion going. And if you know a friend who would benefit from seeing this perspective, please share this video with him. Sharing knowledge is how we all rise together. Finally, if you want to go even deeper, to turn this understanding into a structured, practical system you can apply, I've created a comprehensive program that breaks all of this down into actionable steps. It's linked in the description below. It's for the man who is done with guesswork and is ready for a method based on psychology, biology, and real-world results. Thank you for spending this time with me, for engaging with your mind open. Remember, the goal isn't to learn a script, but to master the silent language that speaks volumes. Hit that like button if you found this valuable, subscribe for much more content like this, and I will see you in the next video.